If you follow the trajectory of the white man's evolution, or de-evolution as it were, in America from decades past up until the modern day, you will see gradual trends shifting towards his immobilization and subsequent feminization on all fronts. There have been, there has been there has been a concerted effort to immobilize the white man's effort because he, it is believed, out of all the races that inhabit planet Earth, it is he that poses the greatest threat to the advancement of artificial intelligence. It's better that you hear this from me now rather than never hear it at all from your favorite celebrity journalist. When you are beholden to advertisers' money, there are certain topics you can't talk about. I talk more about this in a future video entitled White Man Must Die So That Machines May Live. But for now, let's get back to why man will be okay letting Facebook's machine decide who he has a relationship with. First of all, I'm not really telling you anything that shouldn't be immediately obvious to you already. Take a look around. The signs and imagery are all around you. If not on the streets and the sides of city buses, then on the screens inside your homes and phones. Turn on your television. What do you see? Well, if it was New Year's Eve 2017, you might have seen something like this. This is a captured moment of CNN coverage of New Year's Eve Times Square ball drop. This is how CNN sees white American men on New Year's Eve. A couple of gray-haired old men wearing matching outfits, enjoying each other's company, while the beautiful women stand far away in the background. But it's not just global news corporations and their advertisers that are pushing the immobilization through feminization agenda. What about professional athletes? In 2017, very tough-looking football players kneeled down while holding each other's hands. These were gestures of defeat, regardless of any deeper meaning attached to them. To the watching world, the optics suggest acquiescence and submission. Let's talk more about professional sports, specifically Major League Baseball. A new rule change went into effect for the 2018 season, mandating that all 30 baseball clubs erect safety netting that extends from around home plate to the end of the dugouts. This rule was put into effect because a bunch of fans from New York couldn't put down their smartphones long enough to pay attention to the game, and as a result, people started getting hit by flying bats and balls. The game of baseball has survived at least 150 years, and probably even longer than that. Never has there been a problem with fans getting hit in the head with balls to the extent that it warranted a public outcry for a rule change. So, what changed? AI created and controlled social engineering and experimentation, coupled with the white man's increasing feminization, appears to be what has changed. So feeble and simple-minded has the average American become. Weak-kneed and weak-willed, he has become a danger unto himself. So much so, in fact, that he continuously seeks safety and security from the very same corporations who wish him dead. I wasn't going to mention this now, but from what I hear, Major League Baseball is considering 2 new rule changes for the 2020 season. Number 1 will be to get rid of the foul ball netting altogether and in its place erect a 30-foot high polycarbonate wall around the entire field. The second rule change being considered is to require every ticket holder in attendance to wear human airbags, just in case a New Yorker falls down and hurts himself. Because remember, everybody, it's safety first. Anyways, let's move away from professional sports and talk about Olympic athletes. A one Mr. Bruce Jenner, whose tale of transformation is an all too familiar one at this point, whether we want it to be or not. But let's talk more modern Olympic athletes like snowboarder Shaun White, who had it right the first time when he characterized sex harassment allegations made against him as gossip, only to fall apart and completely cry like a little girl as he blubbered through an apology. Based on his actions, body language, and facial expressions during this exercise, he appears to be more of a willing participant in a theatrical social experiment rather than alleged suspect of sexual harassment. Nevertheless, to the untrained eye, the optics still remain, and to that end, this exercise, whether real or fake, fulfills its intended purpose in depicting a white man's achievements immobilized. Let's talk about material objects. The automobile, an engineering marvel for the ages. Let us look at the common pickup truck through the perspectives of both past and present. Words to describe the top photo of a truck built in 1979 are practical, strong, masculine, straightforward, no nonsense, American. Now look at the photo just below and we see the soon-to-be released for the North American market Ford Ranger for 2019. Words to describe this design could be global, soft, curvaceous, feminine, and because of its ridiculous height and lack of bed space, it could also be described as impractical as a work truck. I have a million examples, and I could literally go on all day with this. I still haven't gotten to the topic of John Boehner and how the optics of his constant crying posed a national security risk, or the topic of why testosterone boosters are so popular with white men, or the topic of why there are so many advertisements on AM talk radio about drugs, mattresses, pillows, sedation dental practices, and other goods and surfaces that seek to immobilize me. However, this video is neither the time nor the place for all of that. My goal with the videos in this series wasn't to create pointless commentary, just so that I could mindlessly and randomly complain about the world's problems, garnish everything in comedic flair, and offer absolutely no insight onto the possibility of solving said problems. You know, the celebrities can and will do this if the price is right, of course, but my goal was to paint you a picture to make you see the level and sophistication of social engineering that I see, all of which is cleverly hidden in plain sight and easily missed. Now, you may be thinking, that's great and everything, but what does, Anderson Cooper and his partner have to do with it? What does an Olympic gold medalist's apology, modern automobiles, testosterone boosters, and mattresses, and John Boehner crying all have to do with any of it? Your thoughts, they seem so abstract, so random. If what I mentioned seems random to you, it's possible that you may have an emotional attachment to either one or more of the subjects I talked about. That could be a problem for you in understanding anything I talk about regarding this matter. Fortunately, I'm going to attempt to deprogram everyone watching this video from the social engineering stranglehold that the media industrial complex has on America. And I'm going to attempt to deprogram everyone by using an analogy to that of a common brick. This brick, the single brick that I hold in my hand, serves no constructive purpose. It is essentially worthless. Many bricks like this, working together, however, can build walls, can build prisons, can build empires. Imagine waking up one sunny morning, looking outside your window and seeing a huge brick wall that wasn't there before. After being completely shocked or pissed off, or a combination of the two emotions, you eventually find it within yourself to sit back and admire the size and scale of this annoying brick wall running through your front yard. Now, given that the person in this example is you, would you also at some point focus on the wall as a whole? Or would you isolate a single brick at random and admire its role as a structural support object, despite the fact that it looks and functions no differently than any of the rest of the bricks? Whether or not you have an emotional attachment to any of the subjects, never lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, just like the common brick, they too serve as structural support objects used to build something bigger than themselves. When you see this image, do you see two news anchors? I don't. I see nothing more than a structural support object, aka a single brick sandwiched between weight and mortar, useful to build something bigger than themselves. When you see this image, do you see an automobile? I don't. I see another structural support object. I'm looking at the message, not the messenger. In this case would be Ford, who, like many other corporations, most likely have wolves within the hen house and are making decisions that ultimately are bad for the company, yet will help pave the way for Tesla. When you see this image, do you see a sensitive and caring politician? I don't. I see another brick in the wall. I see a politician who, for reasons I can only speculate on, was called upon for his ability to cry on command. The optics involved during his tenure completely handicapped the Republican Congress, where it was presumably believed that the appearance of such weakness would benefit not only the administration at the time, but the current administration as well. It is important to look at everything you see on television, everything you're being told to you through corporate media, and every corporate decision as if it were just another brick. But in doing so, be careful not to cross into the territory of objectifying or dehumanizing human beings. This is as equally irresponsible as believing everything you see on TV.